Hello, Stephen, and welcome.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us and agreeing
Pleasure.
to be interviewed. So we're just going to talk a little bit about languages and your career. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Stephen Jones. I am 50. I am a tax solicitor. It's a big law firm based in Manchester. I studied languages at university and then went on to become a lawyer.
Right, okay, fantastic. And how did you get to study languages at university?
I enjoyed languages at school. I did French at O-level and did which is what we used to call GCSEs back in the day. I was the last year of O-levels in 1987 before they abolished them in favour of GCSEs. So I did French and Latin O-level and a Russian O-level. I then studied French and Latin and English at A-level, and then went to Cambridge to do French and Italian. And I started the Italian from scratch, and the French I picked up from A-level.
Right.
Joint language degree.
Yeah, okay. And as part of that degree, did you get to live abroad?
I did. I spent my third year in Italy in a small town in Tuscany called Fucecchio, which nobody has heard of unless you know the area. It was lovely because there were no other English people there. I really had to use my languages. I met some really good friends who I'm still friends with, and I spent a really enjoyable time there and improved my language tremendously.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about your current job then, please?
Yep, I am a tax lawyer, which means primarily I advise businesses on the tax consequences of the transactions they undertake. I spend a lot of time reviewing documents. I analyse the structures of business transactions, try and work out more tax efficient ways of doing things. I advise people which of them is going to be liable if there's two of them in a transaction, and sometimes we draft indemnities and agreements between parties as to who will pick up the tax bill if there's an unseen tax liability. It all sounds very dry if you're not a tax specialist, but it's quite. I think it's interesting. It involves analysing documents, analysing transactions and situations, and trying to find creative solutions to difficult problems and communicating them to the clients. And that's, I guess, where the languages thing partly comes in, because there's a real skill as a lawyer, really, in taking really complicated things and communicating them in writing or in the spoken to other people who are experts. And that's part of the skill, I think, of being a linguist, is expressing yourself well.
Yeah. And so do you use your languages on a daily basis or regularly in your job now?
I don't use them regularly in my job now. I use them some of the time in my job. I work for a global organisation. Like most global organisations, our language within internally is English. So everybody is expected to speak English who works there. I do have colleagues in Italy, and I do speak to them in Italian occasionally. But really, it's a good way of getting to know them, and it's a good way of breaking down barriers, and it's a good way of building friendships. But on a day-to-day basis, I don't use it very often. Occasionally, there've been times where I've been on a call and there's been Italians on the call and they've spoken in Italian among themselves, and I've been able to understand what they mean before the translator steps in, so I've been able to assist, and that's always good. It builds up rapport. But I don't on a regular basis use the Italian or the French on a day-by-day basis now.
Okay, fantastic. So my next question then is, what is the hardest thing that you have had to do?
In my job, I would say the hardest thing is probably the long nights, the working late. There have been some times where I've had to work. Occasionally, I've had to work all night, and it's absolutely exhausting. And because it's like brain work, it's quite hard to do things where you have to think really carefully and really hard and stay up all night. There was one deal I remember where I had a really, really complicated spreadsheet that went on for pages and so many colours and numbers. And people were asking me really hard questions about it, and I got to a point at about 4 a.m. where my brain stopped working and I wanted to cry, and I had this screen in front of me, and the numbers just swum, and I just thought,
we've all been there.
I can't function. I can't function without sleep, and that is probably the hardest part of my job. Sometimes the hours can be very long.
Yeah. And what's the best thing about your job?
The best thing. One of the best things was when I did my trip to California. A few years ago, I had a secondment. I got to go to California for 3 months. So I stayed out in Palo Alto in Silicon Valley, met lots of really interesting people, travelled around and saw the country. saw a different style of working, and that was really fun.
Yeah, fantastic. And what is the best bit about speaking your languages? Remind us the languages that you speak.
French and Italian. I mean, I
Yeah.
did Russian a very long time ago, but I wouldn't claim to speak that anymore. I just really enjoy it. I like speaking to people in their own language. I like it when you're in a context where people expect you to speak English and you surprise them, and you can break through the barriers because you're speaking to them in their own language, in their own context, and you can make new relationships. I really enjoy it. I enjoy communicating with people, and I just find it fun. I know it's not everybody, but that is me.
Wordle, haven't you?
I do lots of different Wordles now, all the different variants, but one of the ones I do is the Italian Wordle, which is quite fun. Sometimes I'm quicker at that than the English one.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, one final question for you then. This might be a little bit of a tricky one to keep things short. If you could sum up language learning in 5 words exactly, what would they be?
5 English words?
5 English words, yes, please.
Joy of communicating with others.
Oh, well done. Excellent. Concisely done as a true solicitor. Well done.
We don't charge by the word, it's a myth.
Thank you very much for your time.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.